Lila lived in a quiet little village nestled between rolling green hills and a sparkling river. Unlike the other children who spent their days playing games or running through the fields, Lila loved to paint. But she never used brushes. Instead, she dipped her hands into the brightest, most beautiful colors and let her fingers dance across the canvas. Her paintings weren't just pretty, they were magical. Everything she painted with her hands came to life. If she traced the shape of a bird, it would flutter its wings and take off into the sky. If she painted a tree, its leaves would rustle as though the wind had whispered to them. The villagers adored her creations, and they called her the little artist of miracles. Lila had discovered her gift when she was just 5 years old. One afternoon, she had been playing in the garden, her hands covered in mud, when she absent-mindedly traced the shape of a butterfly on the ground. To her amazement, the butterfly blinked its tiny eyes, flapped its delicate wings, and lifted into the air. From that day on, Lila painted every chance she got, bringing to life glowing lanterns that floated above the village, golden fish that swam through the air, and tiny foxes that left paw prints on her doorstep before scampering away into the woods. One autumn afternoon, as the golden light bathed the village, Lila decided to create something truly extraordinary. She spread out a giant white canvas on the ground, dipped her hands in vibrant blues and greens, and painted a shimmering river. She added swirling clouds to the sky and a playful fox curled up beneath a tree. As soon as she finished each stroke, her paintings sprang to life, the river rippled, the clouds drifted, and the fox stretched, yawned, and trotted off into the forest. Then, something strange happened. As she mixed deep purples and fiery reds, a tingling sensation spread through her fingers. Without thinking, she began tracing the shape of something new. It was taller than anything she had painted before, its body long and wispy like smoke. Its glowing orange eyes stared back at her, and its shadow stretched across the canvas like a whisper of something forgotten. The moment she lifted her hands, the canvas trembled. The figure blinked. Then, slowly, it stepped out of the painting. At first, the villagers watched in awe. The creature tilted its head curiously, sniffing the market stalls and watching painted birds fly overhead. It didn't seem dangerous, just quiet and mysterious. But then, something changed. As the creature moved through the village, it grew taller, its fingers stretching like tree branches, leaving trails of darkness wherever they touched. The once bright colors of Lila's paintings began to fade. The golden fish lost their shimmer. The lanterns flickered out. The village, once so full of life, became quiet and dim. Lila's heart pounded. She had never created something she couldn't control before. "I have to fix this," she whispered. She ran to Master Runo, the old painter who had taught her about colors when she was younger. His studio was filled with paintings, portraits of people long gone, landscapes of places that only existed in dreams. When Lila told him what had happened, he listened carefully, stroking his beard. "Every painting carries a piece of the artist's heart," he said. "This shadow you created, it was born from something inside you." Lila frowned. "But I didn't mean to create darkness." Master Runo gave her a kind smile. "Even the brightest artists have shadows, Lila. You must find out why yours grew so strong." She sat by the river, watching the reflection of the shadowy figure ripple across the water. What had she been feeling when she painted it? Was she sad? Angry? Then, she remembered. That morning, she had felt lonely. She had watched the other children playing together, their laughter echoing through the village. No one had invited her. She had poured that feeling into her painting without realizing it, and now, that loneliness had taken shape in the form of the shadowy creature. She took a deep breath. If I created the shadow, I can uncreate it. She rushed back home, spreading a new canvas before her. This time, she dipped her hands into the warmest yellows, the softest blues, and the brightest pinks. She painted joy. She painted laughter. She painted tiny golden fireflies that glowed like tiny stars, their light gentle and warm. As she worked, the fireflies lifted from the canvas, flickering in the cool evening air. They floated toward the shadow creature, their golden light wrapping around it like a soft embrace. The moment they touched its smoky form, the darkness trembled. The creature let out a deep sigh, a sound like the wind through the trees, and slowly, it began to shrink. The villagers watched in amazement as the shadow dissolved into a swirl of sparkling colors, drifting up into the night sky like the last whisper of a dream. The darkness faded. The warmth returned. The golden fish shimmered again, the lanterns flickered back to life, and the painted birds soared joyfully through the sky. Lila smiled as the village cheered. She had learned something important that day. Art wasn't just about creating beautiful things, it was about expressing feelings, both light and dark. From that moment on, she painted with a new understanding, listening closely to her heart. Whenever she felt lonely or sad, she didn't let it take over her art. Instead, she mixed her colors carefully, always remembering that even in shadows, there was always a little light waiting to shine through. And so, the little girl who painted with her hands continued filling the world with magic, one color at a time.